Hey guys, welcome out to a special Game Heroes edition with our friend Lindsay, who is in town. Actually working on got a reward for a documentary. That's pretty awesome. You won...
I won Best Documentary at the USA Film Festival.
Well, congrats.
Thank you.
This has nothing to do with documentaries.
Nothing. It has everything to do
with gaming. What we're going to talk about today, these guys don't know, surprise edition. Surprise. We're going to talk about whether or not casual gaming is worth it. The minute that you spend, is it more worth it than taking the time for a long-form game? What is more satisfying? The minute that you take, or the satisfaction from a game that you can actually beat?
Okay, I have something to say about that. Casual gaming is totally appropriate if you are taking a crap, waiting in the doctor's office, or doing something else that is just wasting time. Like literally you have to sit and do something, and you can just be like, instead of reading a magazine, I'm gonna play Cartoon Wars 2.
Well, I think you're leaving out the very important social dynamic, which is like for game like Scrabble Online, which is also like, well, maybe you're wasting time, but you're also beating your friend and getting your smug sense of superiority out there. So like most casual games I do on my iPhone 4.
It's pronounced iPhone.
Thank you, Apple.
Would be with someone else, and usually either talking or chatting at the same time. So that feels worth it just for the social dynamic. It builds bonds.
That is true. What do you think?
For me, it's puzzles. I like puzzle games. I like keeping my brain up, you know. Otherwise, it goes down, and I become old and stupid.
So you feel like you're stimulating your brain in a certain way so that you're perhaps, you know, if you were to have a stroke in the future, you're like, oh my goodness, thank you for casual gaming because now I can actually use that side of my brain.
Yeah, basically, when I'm like 96, that's when I think I'm just gonna start going.
It's gonna kick in.
It's gonna start, you know, dementia and things like that. But up until then, I'll probably just kind of pretend like I'm crazy, screw around with people just so I can get away with things like getting full body tattoos and shooting shotguns off randomly. And I just be like, oh, he's a crazy old man. But I'm like, no, thanks to casual games, I'm smarter than you are.
Sudoku.
Exactly.
So now, Liz, you're talking about bringing up the fact that there's a social aspect now to these casual games. Do you feel like you've gotten to know people better because of casual games? Do you feel like it's improved your friendship with people, or do you think that it's just kind of connected you in a way, maybe even added more to this kind of addictive flavoring of casual games?
No, I do. I do.
That's right. We got the plumbing is really bad in this house.
I do think it does improve games because of the sort of non-committal nature of social networking right now. Like you can't be friends with someone, you can't ask for someone's phone number. It's like you kind of have to do it through Facebook. But then you can like challenge people to Scrabble on Facebook and thereby get to know them better. So it's in a way it kind of serves as an excuse to, you know, deepen friendships, and that is kind of sad, but that is kind of the world we live in now, you know, where you can't just straight up hang out. Oh no, we have to go through avenues like Facebook and Twitter and, you know, be carefully non-committal.
Now, the question is you bring up a good point about like improving relationships with people, but then again, you know, what is the avenues nowadays to meet people? Like, the fact is that, I mean, at least when I'm playing casual games, it's only with people that I already know.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, like, unless I'm on Facebook, which is slightly more inclusive, it can be somewhat cliquish. So it's like, oh, you don't, it's like South Park, you know? Oh, you don't have the latest Chimpokomon Lambtron toy. You know, it's like...
That was a really good impression.
Oh, you know. Lambtron is sad because there are so few Lambtrons left in the world. But you know what I'm saying, though? I mean, we even just talking about before we were sitting down here to talk, we're talking about cliques and how easy it is for different groups to kind of split off and do their own thing. And I'm wondering if casual gaming kind of enhances that because, you know, you're playing with your friends. It's not really encouraging strangers, and most of the time the stranger is what you imagine, that kind of creepy, naked 40-year-old person.
Yeah.
Most of the time it is if you play like Photo Swap.
Yeah,
but I'd like to bring up something else, though. I know about 6 months ago we downloaded the Monopoly app for your iPhone, which you have to play in like a wireless environment, and we all sat around, played Monopoly, and it was fun. It was fun because there's animations and music and everything, and it does the math for you. But the problem is you lose that old nostalgia feel of playing on an original board, feeling it in your hands. My worry is all gaming going to be like that, especially with like things like Connect and you know, all the video gaming you can do right now across different people. It is cool in the respect, like, for instance, we can play with people across the world. But if you want to play with a family member, you're losing that personal feel, in my opinion.
Now this next little question might be kind of out of your realm, but maybe you can feel free to participate and chime in if you want. But in the same line of casual gaming, connected gaming, iPhone gaming, smartphone gaming, as it were, do you feel like, you know, we oftentimes go back and remark on how much we love going to the arcade. And the arcade was the thing, it was the social spot. Now, are we better off now for these kind of games? It's such an amazing amount of, you know, connectivity, or are we really more segmented off because are we more isolated now or more connected now than we ever were? We can play with, like, our brother who's over in Japan, but then if we go to the arcade, do you guys think that that was a more profitable experience, even though I know that we look back on those days really fondly and kind of lament the fact that arcades are gone now?
I don't know, I think you get sort of connection fatigue, if that makes sense. Because whereas I think friendships and relationships kind of naturally would fade away, now with the advent of Facebook, you're friends with these people that you wouldn't be friends with otherwise. So on that level, you might be playing games with them and like Scrabble or Literati, or obviously you can see what I do, where my bias falls. But at the same time, since you have so many relationships, I guess they are weakened in that there are kind of an oversaturation. So I think it's not less, it's just different, if that makes sense.